can we get a shot out there, please? You're looking at the Dover lifeboat that's just been tasked with heading out now to, we think, a migrant boat in difficulties.
Good afternoon, Britain. It's 9 minutes past midday and we're going to head straight to Dover because as we speak, Border Force are bringing in a migrant boat. It comes after warnings that over 200 migrants have illegally arrived in the UK so far today.
Well, we're now joined by our Home and Security Editor, Mark White, in Dover. Mark, bring us the latest on these extraordinary numbers.
Well, indeed, it is another busy day. This is what they call a red day in the English Channel, where they have effectively flat cam conditions, and they expect that the people smugglers will push out the migrant boats, and true to form, that's exactly what they've done. Yesterday, I should say, we had almost 600 small boat migrants who crossed the channel. Today, it's looking very busy again, at least 6, maybe 7 small boats being dealt with out in the channel as we speak. What you're looking at now is the Border Force catamaran Typhoon just entering Dover Harbour with another boatload of migrants that they've picked up in the English Channel. We don't know how many migrants are aboard this vessel. Our trusty producer Chris counts them for us as they come off, and we'll certainly bring you that number once they come off. It's a now sort of familiar sight that we see here with these small boat arrivals. This vessel now, as it passes the sort of main entrance into Dover Harbour, will slow down a bit. You can see it already turning as it comes down, slows down some more, and it's heading to an area of the Dover Harbour called the Western Jetfoil. It's there that Border Force have now built their processing centre to deal with those small boat migrants. So effectively they're taken into the Western Jetfoil. That boat will dock and then those on board are checked before they're then sort of brought off. The life jackets that they've been wearing are taken off them, and then they're taken into the actual processing centre. They're questioned, of course, they're arrested on immigration offences, because it is, despite many people telling us that these are not illegal immigrants, these are asylum seekers. The fact is, they've not yet claimed asylum. That comes further down the road. They are illegal immigrants. It is illegal to enter the UK, not through a sanctioned border control or without the proper documentation, which is what we're witnessing here. So these individuals get arrested, first of all, on immigration offences, and at some point further down the process here, they will, as the vast majority do, claim asylum and enter then the asylum system. Now, as
Mark,
I say, as you can see,
sorry, Mark, for those that haven't seen something like this before, what we are seeing here is typical, is it? The boats, the small boats that we talk about so often, the rubber dinghies, very rarely actually make it to our shores, and the people on board them are picked up by our Coast Guard vessels like Typhoon, and the people are brought into port rather than those rigid inflatable boats that we see them setting off in. Those very rarely actually physically make it to the UK.
That's absolutely right. In fact, it's been, I think, 2 years since the last small boat ever made it to a beach in the UK that we know of.
Have you had a random call lately from a strange number, maybe trying to sell you something or even scam you? If so, your info could be out there. That's because of data brokers, shady companies that scrape the internet for your personal details and sell them to marketers or even scammers. These days, scammers can even use AI to mimic your friends' voices and trick you into sending money. It's not just annoying. Data brokers often target vulnerable people with high-interest loans or sketchy offers. But there is a solution. Incogni, the sponsor of this video. Incogni contacts data brokers on your behalf and requests your info be deleted from their databases. And because your data can keep popping up, Incogni keeps sending removal requests to make sure it stays gone. They've just launched a new unlimited plan with custom removals. If you find your info on a weird website, just send them the link and their privacy team will work to get it taken down. Getting started is easy. Hit the link in the description, create your account and let Incogni handle the rest. It's risk-free for 30 days and you'll get 60% off an annual plan with the code GBNews. Take back control of your data with Incogni.
You know, they're very good now, Border Force and the border agencies and the Coast Guard, at being able to spot all these Border Force, all these small boats before they ever get anywhere near the UK coastline. And that's because the vast majority of them, when they set off from the beaches in France, are escorted across by a French naval or border patrol vessel. And they do that out, we're told, as frustrating as it is, understandably, to many of our audience who say that this is ridiculous, that the French should just escort them across. Well, the French say they do it because they're there to offer assistance if that boat gets into trouble. They do ask them if they want to come on board. They're always told no. So now they just escort them. If the boat gets into difficulties, they intervene and they rescue some or all of those on board the vessel. And the other thing that the French do is they escort the small boat through the busy shipping lane, ensure that it doesn't get ploughed into by one of the many vessels that go up and down one of the busiest shipping lanes in the world. As you look at Typhoon now, just making that entrance very gingerly into the Western Jet foil. Now, as this catamaran, one of half a dozen similar catamarans operated by Border Force, most of them actually out today, as this catamaran is making its way into Dover Harbour, Western Jet foil. Other Border Force vessels, as we speak, are out in the Channel,
Mark,
are currently picking up the occupants from other small boats.
Mark, we're going to have to leave it there, but thank you so much, and we will, of course, be covering this story later on in the programme.
Yes, thank you so much for bringing us those extraordinary pictures as that Typhoon vessel brings in those migrants.
Can we get a shot out there, please? You're looking at the Dover lifeboat that's just been tasked with heading out now to, we think, a migrant boat in difficulties. We are still awaiting word on that, but that Dover lifeboat's just left the harbour now. It's probably going to disappear out of shot soon, but it's going to pick up speed as it heads to the location. There are quite a number of small boats in the English Channel as we speak, some of them making really quite slow progress. We believe that a number of them have been so full that the French authorities have had to intervene and take some migrants off. As they do, it sounds a bit counterintuitive. You know, the French don't intervene to stop the small boats, but if the migrants get into trouble and need help, they will go and they will take as many migrants as want to come off those boats, and then you normally get 20 or 30 migrants continuing on their journey. Well, this seems to be a migrant boat that's in some difficulties that's out there. Other Border Force vessels are currently out as well. They're further down the French coast towards the Boulogne end, so that's quite a bit further south. I should just say, all that banging you're hearing, that's a pile driver which is operating for the new border controls facility they're setting up here at Dover Harbour. But you can see, as I say, that Dover lifeboat heading out there. I wonder if that's two Border Force ribs that are just kind of crossing its path. be behind it as well. But so far today, we had an arrival here at 4:30 in the morning of one packed out small boat, and at least another 5 small boats, maybe more, out in the channel as we speak. What we are seeing at the moment is a series of so-called red days. That means that Border Force and the French authorities are braced for very good flat cam conditions, which will mean that those small boats come across in significant numbers. And with almost 600 who came across yesterday, it's likely that we could head to that 20,000 figure of small boat migrants who've crossed so far this year by Tuesday. We're already now at over 19,000, and as I say, it just takes really one busy day and you're up over 1,000. Well, we've got 2 likely busy days coming up.
Mark, the French police are said to be getting tougher this week. They're meant to be taking action, at least in shallow waters. I don't suspect this will be any relief for the Prime Minister, as obviously he's having a pretty bad time getting control of this issue. But, would we, or should we expect at least a slightly lower number of migrant boats crossing as the French police tend to, are supposed to be stepping up?
Well, obviously I'd like to say so for the government's sake, but no, I don't think so, because contrast that with what we are about to experience, which is the summer months of July, August, September, and even into October, when history has told us those are the flattest, calmest months of the year, when we get very significant crossings, easily often 1,000 small boats that will cross in a single day. And it really only takes a week of good weather, and you can see 3 or 4, even 5,000 crossing in a single week. So the French police might be getting a bit tougher on the beaches, but what will that really do at the end of the day? Well, it'll certainly disperse migrants if they're firing tear gas at them. If they're pushing boats back, they'll be pushed off the boat, but all they do is just regroup, go back into the camps, meet up with the people smugglers, and just hook up with a new boat again. So it might delay them by a day or 2 or 3, but they'll just try again until they can get over the channel and here to the UK, as we're witnessing once again today with another busy day in the English Channel.